Hello everyone, hope everyone's doing well. So I bit the bullet. I don't know how long it's going to take because I'm going to possibly lose access to my other channel. And which you won't see this until Friday. But anyway, I bit the bullet. I deleted my other channel. So this is the only Gale we got. It might take a while, I guess. So yeah, we're gonna see how it goes. I am trying to rebuild, y'all. But I'm gonna hopefully it'll be bigger and better on this channel. So I'm not gonna dwell on it. I'm not gonna be sad, even though I am kind of sad. I'm not gonna be mad, even though I am kind of mad. But hey, life, can only get better from here, right? I feel like it's a glare. I don't think there's anything I can really do about it, but yeah. So we're here, and I have decided to just go full on Supremes for Women's History Month. Speaking of which, happy Women's History Month. I'm going to go on a slight tangent. I wanted to talk about this book by Sally Mann called Immediate Family, and it got flagged on TikTok because the children don't have any shirts on the cover, even though they're children and they have nothing, no boobies, no nothing. So I appealed that. But yeah, if you're on TikTok, all of my social media is that I am Calicious. I always make a note of that in the description bar. If you want to follow me, no pressure. So let's get into it. So at first, I want to do 3 Supremes albums, but I feel like I have a lot of notes. I'm trying not to make these videos too long. So I think next week, I do want to talk about their last album, like ever, as the Supremes. So I'm not sure if that's going to be the only thing I talk about, but I have to see how many notes I'm going to have. Because I want to talk about their singles, but then the week after that is Poetry Month. So we'll see how it goes. Because I guess I could do, I've been doing poems for all of the Supreme stuff I've talked about in the Sparkle movies, So, hey, that could be a segue. I can talk about the singles and write poems based on the singles. Who knows? Alright, so my first note for Meet the Supremes, which was their first album, which debuted in 1962, December 9th, 1962, to be specific. Originally, there were 4 members: Diana Ross, Mary Wilson, Florence Baylor, and Barbara Martin. Martin, however, was not in promotional, if I can read that, promotional material, as she was pregnant. It said heavily pregnant when I looked it up. And so she had left the group to start a family. So, but her vocals were kept on the album. And if you go on Wikipedia, they do note where her vocals are. So let's get into this. Their first album was Meet the Supremes. So they have, the first song is Your Heart Belongs to Me. It was very dreamlike and light. I really liked it. It was very soft and slow and just a very gentle love song. It was a nice opening. You know what I mean? If I can get this to work right, the thumbnail is going to be the 2 albums in a pick stitch. We'll see if I can do it, y'all, and make it look good. Okay, so the next song is Who's Loving You. Also, if there's a different lead other than Diana Ross, I will talk about it. It's a sad love song, breakup love song, and wondering who their ex is with now. Honestly, Diana Ross did not sound like herself, like as we know her now. I don't really recognize her, but of course, this is the first album, so I figured the vocals might not have been matured yet. So, so the 2 albums are gonna be their first album that they ever wrote, that they ever recorded, and released, and then the last album they had with Diana Ross. I'm going to talk about that. And then next week, I'm going to talk about their very last album ever as the Supremes. Okay? So the next song is Baby Don't Go. Mary Wilson as a lead is very soulful and emotional. I really like that. Although it is another sad breakup song. And let me tell you something. There are a lot of these on here, so there's gonna be a lot of complaining about them. FYI. I do wish they had mixed up the songs so like there was a different variety because I felt like I was like, dang, I just got out of a sad song and now I'm going into a sad song. I think her voice is full of life, and I like that each of them got to lead on at least one song, and you get to hear how each member sounds. And I think that's great. So Mary Wilson, she was very good to me on this, on her song "Baby Don't Go," and on the last album that the Supremes ever wrote. Let me see if I made a note about that. So I think at the end, nope. None of these ladies are at the end. At the end, it was, okay, Mary Wilson, Sherry. I'm going to get that right. Next week, when I talk about it, I'm going to have everything right. But basically, the whole lineup besides Mary was like totally different. But Mary, at the end, their very last album, did have some solos. She did like a lot of the ballads. Buttered Popcorn, I was so excited to hear this song because it just sounded like such a fun song. So Florence Baylor was on lead, and she is very energetic. The song is very fun and makes you hungry as well. It's about her man who avoids world events by eating, so it's very relatable to people today. LOL. Baylor conveys her worry about her man in her voice very well. Seems to be happy with him, but still concerned about how he feels about the world. So the man is just like, she's asking, "Hey, how you feel about the world?" He's like, "Just give me the popcorn, okay? I don't want to think about anything." Which, hey, sometimes in life you don't want to think about everything. You just want to eat. Honestly, very relatable. Okay, number 5 is called "I Want a Guy," and y'all, it's another sad breakup song. And I put this note, maybe they were the no-hit Supremes because all these songs are sad, LOL. Because that's what Mary Wilson said she called them in her book I reviewed last week. Either with the no-hit Supremes at first. So the song isn't bad, but it's no fun, except one song. So right now, when I was getting through the album, like nothing was fun to me except for Buttered Popcorn. And then even then, the man was like avoiding the world's problems by eating. I do like Diana's lead in this song. I think she sounds like her vocals were more distinct in this song, so I really like that. So number 6, Let Me Go the Right Way. Ross and Baylor lead on this song, but for me, I only hear Ross. It said that Baylor was on there. I feel like Baylor had a pretty distinct voice, especially like in her own like solo lead. You could tell. So, but I couldn't really tell from this song. But they said she was on there. I like this music is more upbeat, and they're talking about falling in love with a man and making sure he doesn't lead them astray. I feel like this is very relatable because no one wants to get led on when they think they found love. I also want to make a note about all these songs. Like, you know how there's like a joke about all of like the songs today are like really short. All the songs on here were not, I don't think there was even one that touched 3 minutes. Like, they're all very short. I was trying to take my notes really fast on my phone as I was listening. So that was interesting because I was like, usually when you think about older songs, you think of them being like 6 minutes, 7 minutes long, which next week, the last album, Mary, Sherry, what is the name of that album? Mary, Sherry, and Suzette. That's the name of the album. They do have like a few 6-minute songs, so that's going to be like something very different, But yeah, I like that song. And then You Bring Back Memories. So I misinterpreted the song. So here we go. So this is about an old lover who comes back. So then all the feelings have come back, basically. I like the music on this song as well. It's a beat, which was a nice change. So yeah, I like that. You bring back memories. And then time changes things. So a guy they once overlooked has now, with time, he is looking better. LOL. So basically, back then she didn't want him. Now he hot. She all on him. That's basically what it is. But now he doesn't want her. So it's really interesting. I feel like that happens sometimes. Like you're really interested in someone, and they're not interested in you, and then years later they're like, maybe you changed, maybe you're taller, maybe you're more handsome, you got more money or something, and now all of a sudden they like you. You know what I mean? So just like Mike Jones said, back then they didn't want him. Now he hot. They all want him. Okay, number 9, play a sad song. Can you guys guess if it's sad? It is. And I thought they must have been going through a breakup with this. But then I also was thinking, and I said LOL, but maybe those were like the popular songs at the time. Maybe. Because, you know, they had songwriters and stuff. So, yeah. And, you know, at this point, I'm sad now too. I said LOL. And I haven't been with anyone in 7 or 8 years. I will say they sounded great together with their harmonizing. The layering of the song is done very well. So whoever, I don't know if it's like mixing or whatever they have to do, mixing, layering, whatever they got to do, they did a great job. Never Again, another sad love song. It does sound nice, but you know, most of the songs are sad, so that was kind of like it wasn't a very fun album to get through, honestly. The beat is nice though and relaxing though. I did sway to the music, so I mean the beat is a bop, honestly. LOL. And the final song, He's, which is in parentheses 17. So it's a fun, upbeat beat. And the message is interesting, especially about today's standards as relationships between 16 and 17-year-olds borderline on whether or not it's inappropriate once the 17-year-old turns 18. And I'm guessing having a 17-year-old boyfriend was a big deal back then. I mean, if I'm 16 and my boyfriend's 17, I'd be like, okay. But I don't know, maybe it was a big deal back then. Maybe that was the mature age back then. And teenage culture had just kind of started in the 50s. So I guess maybe it was more exciting to be a teenager because of that. Yeah. But my overall opinion, this album was mainly slow, sad songs. It wasn't as versatile as I was expecting. Ross's vocals weren't as recognizable as they would become in the future. I did enjoy the fact that all 3 members got to lead a song, so that was very cool. I would give it a 5 out of 10. It was a sad fest, and I can understand why they had no hits yet. LOL. So that's their first album. I mean, it's not the Supremes that you like think of now, like "Stop in the Name of Love" and all these energetic songs. Even if they're sad, they still had like energy to the songs. But this was a snooze fest. All right, so next album. This is the last album to include Diana Ross before her solo career. It was called "Cream of the Crop," and it was released November 3rd, 1969. That was only 7 years. After 7 years, they were like, "Yeah, Diana, you ready to go?" I don't know how. They did release a lot of albums because I kind of thought about, oh, maybe I could cover all their albums, and then I saw they had 29. That would be hours worth of footage. I don't know if I have that patience, but basically, okay. So the new lineup was Diana Ross, Mary Wilson, and Cindy Songbird. So Florence Baylor had basically been kicked out of the group because of her, like I talked about, her alcohol use and her trauma, and she wasn't really dealing with, I guess, fame very well and having the fast lifestyle. She wasn't really into it. So she got kicked out and replaced. So Sarita Wright, she worked with Stevie Wonder. I only know one of her songs from a movie called Happy Birthday to Me. It's like a horror movie, but I love the song Happy Birthday to Me. But yeah, she worked with Stevie Wonder, and she was a singer I want to say she was at Motown. So she also did vocals on the record and was considered to replace Ross. Ultimately, though, Jean Terrell was brought in to replace Ross after their manager saw Jean perform with her brothers and was impressed. So Jean was in a group with her brothers, and then their manager saw them, and they were like, "Oh, Because Berry Gordy wanted Sarita, and then the manager was like, no, we're taking Jean. So that's a little bit of background. So let's get into it. This was one of their #1 songs, which is kind of funny. Like they got I'm sure they had #1 songs after Diana Ross left, but they get one right as she's leaving. So Someday We'll Be Together. Ross is very prominent in lead as to be expected by this time. Very smooth and catchy beat. Song about longing, but not super sad like the songs from their first album. Very upbeat, but still get the message across. They miss their love and optimistic they will be back together. So, yeah. Can't You See It's Me? Wants to let their ex-man know she's better than his new girlfriend, which I'm like, if you can't see you're the greatest, don't beg for no man. I don't like that message. Like, girl, show him what he's missing. Get up out of there. Don't be trying to beg for this man. But anyway, I did think their beats and production really improved greatly. And it felt like very, I guess, I don't know if disco was like there yet, but you know, it's 1969, so it probably was. This may also be due to the trends at the time. So maybe the trend at the time was this kind of, you know, disco-y upbeat stuff. So, but they, you know, they blended in really well. So even though those two songs are sad, they aren't drowned out by melancholy music. Number 3, You Gave Me Love. So new love gave them hope after hopelessness. Their new love gave them comfort and... Oh, their new love gave them hope after hopelessness. And their new love gave them comfort and hopefulness. There we go. Say that 5 times fast. Very light, airy love song. Once again, the beat is very nice upbeat. So they did a cover of Hey Jude by the Beatles. And I'm not really a fan of the Beatles, honestly. But I know that they were like rivals, kind of, I guess. Like if the Beatles were #1, the Supremes would come and knock them off. It was kind of like a thing. I remember they thought they were going to be like kind of rowdy like the Ronettes, but the Supremes were more, it's when the Beatles, so in the book I reviewed last week, the Supremes met the Beatles, but the Beatles thought they would be more like kind of feisty like the Ronettes, I guess, but they were very reserved. And she did talk about they went to a certain school to be reserved and, you know, proper and stuff for Motown. So I find that interesting that they were like, oh, I thought y'all were going to be fun. I just find that so funny. But from what I can tell, because I never heard the original, it doesn't seem to stray far away from doing anything new sounding for this cover. And they did like a few covers of Beatles songs, what I find very interesting because the Beatles never covered them, because I looked while I was listening to this album. And I feel like that's really interesting. Number 5 is the Young Folks. So young folks are revolutionizing the world. It makes sense since the 60s and 70s was a turning point for politics and more liberal viewpoints as the mainstream media. And young people are always moving to change the future in any era. So this is very relevant even today. The Shadows of Society, very socially conscious. They seem to want to make more political and social statements, which I feel like I was reading something where it had said something about their change and how they like were making music and they're making more, you know, socially conscious and different things and not just poppy music. And they talk about people who deem lesser in society's view. I still feel like it's really relevant today because humanity just gets worse and worse over time. It also reminds me of some of the music from The Wiz. Y'all know The Wiz is my favorite movie. And they have a song where she's talking about you need to believe, you know, believe in yourself. And that reminds me of this song. Number 7, Loving You is Better Than Ever. Very upbeat and poppy, very bright and sweet love song. Diana is in full lead, in full force on lead on all the tracks, especially this one. She is dominating the song very well though. Of course, it's right before her solo career, so maybe she had to put in more work than before. She said, I'm getting that solo. I mean, even though it was already, you know, set. She said, I really got to put my foot into these vocals. But yeah, it's a far cry from her meh lead vocals on the debut album, because it wasn't really given. When it's to the top, still I won't stop giving you love. So still I won't stop giving you love is in parentheses. Very with the time sonically. I'm guessing like the beat and stuff. The songs are very bright and happy, which is a big contrast from the debut album. And the song is about giving all your love, giving all of their love, and still giving more to their partner. Tell Johnny Cuz. Now let me tell y'all something. This song, I felt like it was a little messed up. But I'm going to talk about it. Number 9 is Till Johnny Comes. Yearning for a love who's out traveling the world and wants her new guy to hold Johnny's place. So she said, until Johnny comes back, you can just be with me. But she does. She does. Which, y'all can't hold the man hostage. LOL. So I said, tell Johnny come home instead of y'all trying to string this man along. It's a very interesting concept for a song because it's like they appreciate the guy, but then they're waiting on Johnny. But towards the end, they do say if Johnny comes back, they will reject him. So I still feel like it's kind of messed up. Like, give me a chance. You waiting? You talking about till Johnny comes? Don't worry about Johnny. I'm here now. That's what I would say if I was the guy. But I feel like that was kind of messed up. Like, I got this song. Gotta let this man just stay here while you waiting for somebody else. But anyway, number 10, Blowing in the Wind. So it's another cover. It's a Bob Dylan song. I don't know much about Bob Dylan. I haven't listened to a lot of his stuff. So I can't say whether it's truly faithful or if they changed, like, made it more unique. It sounds alright to me. I mean, it didn't sound bad. It sounded good to me. It's interesting they did 2 covers on the same album. And I was wondering, did artists back then always have to do a cover on their albums? Their first album didn't have any covers, as far as I knew when I researched it. But it was very light and eerie, like the other songs on the album. And the final song, number 11, The Beginning of the End. So it's a sad breakup song, but it fits because it could apply to the group as Ross was going on to her. I meant to say her. I said on to get solo career. On to her solo career. And it's still not as drab as any of the first album sad songs. Once again, the beat fits the time period. So overall, I really love this album, y'all. I really love this album. I was kind of thinking maybe I wouldn't, but I did. And I thought it was much more energetic and lively than their first album. I see Diana Ross was in full lead mode, and it was what I remember of hearing the Supremes. Like when I hear the Supremes and I hear Diana Ross, that makes more sense. It's a very lively album, and it fit with its time period. I really enjoyed that it had fun, sad, and conscious songs, which I was surprised on how versatile it was. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Only because it would have been nice to hear a solo from Mary Wilson, but I understand Diana Ross was the star. Otherwise, I really love this album. I think I really recommend it. It's on YouTube. So I wrote 2 poems about my favorite songs on the album. So I did a Diamanté poem. I'm going to explain it, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. It kind of looks like a diamond. So the first line is a noun or subject. The line 2 is 2 adjectives to describe the first noun or subject. Line 3 is 3 ing words describing the first noun or subject. Line 4 is 4 words, 2 about the first noun or subject, and 2 about the anonym or a synonym. Okay, and then another 3 ing words about the anonym or synonym right above it. And then line 6 is 2 adjectives describing the anonym or synonym that you just did. And then the last line is the anonym or synonym for the top subject. It's kind of crazy. But, so I'm going to put this format in the bottom. But basically, you see how it kind of looks like a diamond? As you see my ring light. A little diamondy. So, I wrote it based on butter popcorn. And I'm going to tell you right now, this was harder than I thought it was going to be. I looked at their example and I was like, it's going to be so easy. I picked the hardest words that I could. Okay. So, first one, like I said, inspired by Butter Popcorn because I love that song in the first album. That's my favorite one. So it goes popcorn, salty, buttery, satisfying, filling, glistening, delicious, tasty, gross, tasteless, unsatisfying, unappealing, unappetizing, terrible, tasteless, air popped corn. Because there is no synonym. I looked it up. There's no synonym to popcorn. All right, so the other one, even though I know I made fun of Till Johnny Comes, but in the end they do say they're gonna reject him. So I would say that's like one of my favorite songs on the album, on the Cream of the Crop album. Butter Popcorn was on Meet the Supremes. The first album was Meet the Supremes. Their last album with Diana Ross was Cream of the Crop. Okay. So here it goes. It's inspired by Till Johnny Comes. Replace, fill in, take over, supply, supplying, ousting, succeeding, stand in, change, keep, hold, clinging, delaying, lingering, last, final, remain. So yeah, this I have never done this style before, and I want to do something different because I'm always doing the same things because it's my comfort zone. I don't want to leave it, but sometimes you have to leave it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna put the format into the description, and I'll put the poem so you can actually see what they look like. However, I was trying to format it in my notes app, so however it comes out, I'm gonna fix it up. But yeah, it's always weird like writing on notes because you don't have the formatting like rules of Word. But you know what? I made it work. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I would Meet the Supremes. I mean, if you're like a huge Supreme fans, like I have become, I would say, I mean, you can listen to it because it's their first album. I wouldn't recommend it. It's just so many sad songs. But the Cream of the Crop, I would 100% recommend. 100% go listen to it right now. Finish the video, click off of here, go listen to it right now. But yeah, so next week I'm gonna talk about their final album. I will see how many notes I have though, because I was trying to make it like exactly 20 minutes, but it's not gonna be exactly 20 minutes. But I do want to talk about their singles too, so maybe I'll tie it in for Poetry Month, even though that's not what I was supposed to be doing for Poetry Month. I'm supposed to be talking about poetry books for Poetry Month, but nevertheless, it'll be good, whatever I decide to do. All right, I'll see y'all next week.